All right, guys, let's get straight into it. Okay, so this all starts in around December time, where it's officially time I'm going to start taking this journey seriously. I just graduated from Northwood University in NCAA Division II, and I'd previously played 2 years at another Division II. And I've just finished a pretty mediocre season. Actually, from a team perspective, it was a horrible season, the worst in the university's history. And also for me, it was just a mediocre season. And so I had all these big questions like, I've told people I want to do this, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to try it in spite of it all. And so didn't have a lot to go with. I had a mediocre college career, even lackluster if you could. But I knew, like, deep down I had this feeling that I could do it if I just kept pushing. So I decided to stay on campus. We're just off campus, but by the university. And luckily, through a head coaching change, I was able to continue to train with the team. My scholarship rolled over so I could take an online class that I kind of just whatever, but I could train. So that was huge. So I got to train. And then this is when the networking really started to hit. So I was hitting people on LinkedIn, on Facebook. I was meeting with agencies, trying to get agents to look at me, and my friends and people who knew people, and it was really hard. I didn't really get anybody connected with. I was messaging on Facebook and LinkedIn, all these even really low division European clubs just for a chance. And probably 99% of the time you get completely aired, not even a like message or sorry mate, or you're just not good enough. I would have loved that, but nothing. And so then I joined an agency, and I just kept working and training and saving up money. All this time I'm working like 20 hours a week at this online sales job, which I was hugely blessed with. So I was saving up money, I was training every day, and a lot of silence, tons of silence, which is really, really challenging. And then finally, I signed with this agency for a few months and nothing came from it. So I had to try a different agency, and I did. And I signed a contract with this agency to go out to the Philippines. And that'd be about 2 months' time. So it was the most money I've ever spent on something. And it was a whole bunch of risk and a whole bunch of gamble. But the Philippines has easier visa routes and a level that you can kind of get into, and it has transfer market, which was huge. Transfer market is huge. Once you're in this portal of the transfer market, supposedly doors open for you because you're in the system of other pro players. So that was the idea to go there. And so I worked for 2 more months, was so scared leaving on the plane. What am I doing? I've never been to Asia. I'll get more into that in a different video. But landing in the Philippines, I had my first trial, and I'm there with 4 or 5 other trialists with some dogs. We have a midfielder who has over 6 years of pro experience playing in Serie D in Italy, Romanian 3rd division, high level. A pit center back who was, first of all, an incredible human being, unbelievable player, and a few other really good players. So guys who have way better resumes than me, and they ended up actually signing in the Philippines. So shout out those guys with different clubs. But I trained there for a week, and I had the best week of my life. I'm talking, I genuinely almost scored a bike. I had an assist in a preseason friendly. I played incredible. And I actually made it. I was the only one out of the trialist to make it to a preseason friendly. And at the preseason friendly, the coach was like, okay, this is the last group. Internationals, since there's only so many international spots, like, perform now or you're getting sent home. And I had one of the better games of my life. An assist, I played super well, my energy and effort. And remind you, at the beginning, he said, like, we're gonna tell you who comes on Monday. And so I'm coming off the field, and the head coach shakes my hand, looks me in the eyes, and says, hey, I wanna let you know, we're taking you off so you can rest for Monday. So I'm like, I did it. I'm about to sign my first pro contract on my first pro trial. Like, that doesn't usually happen. And so I was super excited. Sunday night, leading up to the training on Monday, my agent got a text that they don't want me to come back. And I was absolutely, like, genuinely shattered. I thought I had done it. I had performed so well, and I feel like I did everything I can control. And for no reason at all, that sounds like they went a different direction. And so that was a huge, huge hit to me. The next training trial we went to, if I'm honest, I underperformed. There was like 65 plus guys there trialing. So a tough environment to walk into, but I underperformed. And then this final club wasn't gonna offer housing or salary. And it still would have been a great opportunity. But I decided that, like, let's at least look at other options. So my agent says, hey, we just had an American midfielder who's no longer going to this team in the Czech Republic. Would you be interested? And man, I was like, another flight, another thing, but I'm going to chase it. So I said, yes, I'm interested. And so negotiations go back and forth, and we land on it. They said, hey, we want to see you first, but we need a player, so as long as what your video says, we'll sign you. I fly to the Czech Republic, and I leave my friends I just made in Asia, scared. I get to the Czech Republic, I go on my first trial day, and honestly, I'm kind of mediocre at the trial, but I'm intense, energetic. Slide tackles. This is the Czech 5th division, which is one division below pro. The Czech 4th division is pro. So it'd be a great step. And so they say, hey, we love them, like talking about me, we want you, let's move forward with everything. Okay, so I travel with the team to watch an away match, and I'm settled in the accommodation. I'm in a hotel, I got my meals paid for, we're set on a salary that I'm gonna get paid, and I finally found a club. I love the teammates there. There's some English speaking guys, really good facilities. So I feel like I made it, I did it. And then I get a call early in the morning saying the Czech Football Federation just released a new rule that non-EU players can no longer play on a visitor's visa, which I was planning on doing. And it gives me 90 days to be a part of the team. So now I've just lost this. I just flew. I've spent a bunch of money on a flight. I got out here. And my agent says, hey, like, I don't want you to have to go home. Would you go to Slovakia? They don't have that rule. So I said, sure. Like, at this point, I'm in too deep. I've spent tons of money and a bunch of closed doors and no's. And I don't know what God's call is for my life here. So I say yes. So I fly to Slovakia, and I go on a 2-day trial, and I actually play lights out. I play really, really good in the first trial. They want to see me again. I train really solid again. I sit down with the owner, we negotiate, we land on housing and salary, 2 meals a day, and that's where I'm at now. So I'm registered. I didn't get to play in this last weekend game, but I'm here. And so there's so much in between that I want to show more on the mental and just like the difficulty spiritually that it was on all of it. But I'm officially at this club. It's a 5th division club in Slovakia. And it's a foot in the door in Europe. I'll be here till November for 90 days on a visitor's visa. I'm gonna be networking as much as I can, making highlight videos and performing and getting better to hopefully then in the January transfer window, find a 3rd division club here in Slovakia, which is a really high level, and get in there, or go back to the Czech Republic and have somebody pay for my working permit or visa in the 4th division, which is considered pro. So, man, this is where I'm at. So much more went into it, but I'm for 90 days going to try and give everything I have to develop, to grow, and to continue to open up doors. I don't know what God has in store for me. If this is something that is just the first step into a long career, which I think we all want, which I want, or maybe this is 90 days and God's got something different for me. But that's my story. That's where I'm here. That's the update. And I feel blessed. I feel excited. It's been really challenging and hard. It's felt lonely at times, being so far away. It's felt exciting and fun. And I've experienced and saw so many new things that most people don't get. A lot of times I've just been in all of this. In football, you almost feel like you're never in the right spot. You're never where you're supposed to be. And so my mind drifts to January into next transfer window. So one of the biggest spiritual challenges is just being content and being right here. And this is where it is. I got my first match coming up this weekend, and I'm so excited to see what God's got in store. So that's the update for me. And again, I'm going to be trying a lot more diligent to be posting and taking you guys along on this journey, only in hopes that I can help one person know Christ better, experience Christ. And secondly, if I can help them become a better footballer or aid them in this journey, because I feel like a lot of people don't tell you the realness of it, of how difficult this is. And so that's my hope and goal with all of this. So I love you guys. Thanks for taking the time for the update, and super excited for what's to come. Peace.